Level 1. The listing. You're 22, and you work at a print shop, driving a delivery van for $13.50 an hour. $13.50 an hour means your bank account lives in the double digits between the 15th and the 30th of every month. Rent is $900. Gas is $220. Insurance is $150. You eat eggs and discount white bread, and you calculate the cost of a cup of coffee before you buy it. You're a computer science dropout who knows how to code Python scripts and navigate Linux servers. But the print shop doesn't care about your Python scripts. They care about you driving cardboard boxes of business cards to corporate parks in the rain. Your roommate Sean orders a package on the dark web. He orders 10 grams of high-grade cannabis from an onion site using Bitcoin he bought on an exchange. You watch him do it over his shoulder in your kitchen. The interface looks like a bad web forum from 2004. The seller uses PGP encryption to secure the delivery address. You look at the interface the way a web developer looks at a broken checkout page. You see clunky security. You see slow load times. You see a marketplace run by people who know drugs but don't know software engineering. The package arrives 4 days later in a vacuum-sealed Mylar bag inside a hollowed-out video game case. Sean pays $90 for something that costs $30 wholesale on the street. You do the math in your head. The math says the profit margin is 200%. The math says someone made $60 for 5 minutes of packing an envelope. You don't know anyone who sells drugs, but you know how to write code and you know how to clean data. You open Tor browser at 2 in the morning. You register a vendor account on a marketplace called Silk Road 2. The vendor bond costs $150 in Bitcoin. You pay it with the last of your savings. You don't have drugs to sell, but you have something easier to source: digital gift cards. You buy compromised digital gift cards off a Telegram forum for 20 cents on the dollar and list them on the market at 50 cents on the dollar. A $100 Walmart gift card costs you $20. You sell it for $50. The buyer gets a $100 card for half price. You make $30 profit per transaction. The transaction takes 40 seconds. You process 6 orders on your first night. $180 net profit. That is 13 hours behind the wheel of the delivery van. You do it in your bedroom, wearing sweatpants, while listening to rain on the window. You do it again the next night. $240. Then $310. By week 3, you're clearing $1,200 a week. You keep working at the print shop because quitting raises questions, and questions are dangerous when you're running an illegal digital storefront out of your bedroom. Level 2. The bulk. By month 3, gift cards are small change. The marketplace charges a 3% fee per transaction, and the gift card suppliers on Telegram are unreliable. You need physical inventory with higher margins and consistent demand. You connect with a supplier on an encrypted messaging app named Apex. Apex operates out of a warehouse in Southern California. He doesn't deal in gift cards. He deals in bulk prescription pills, generic alprazolam, pressed to look like name-brand pharmaceuticals. Apex sells them in batches of 1,000 for $1.50 per pill. You list them on the marketplace for $6 each. The margins are 400%. You buy your first 1,000 pills with cash saved in a shoebox under your bed. $1,500 investment. The package arrives at a rented P.O. box you opened using a fake state ID you bought from a forum vendor. You open the box in your car behind an abandoned grocery store. A vacuum-sealed foil brick. You buy a thermal impulse sealer, a vacuum sealer, Mylar bags, and a label printer. You turn your closet into a packing line. You wear nitrile gloves, a respirator mask, and a hairnet every time you handle inventory. You never handle the pills without full protective gear, because skin oils contain DNA, and DNA on a plastic bag is a life sentence. You establish a shipping protocol. Every order gets double vacuum sealed. The outer bag is wiped down with isopropyl alcohol to remove any trace scent or organic material. The shipping labels are printed using stealth addresses, real residential addresses in neighboring towns with random names. You drop the packages into public blue mailboxes across 3 different counties. Never the same mailbox twice in 1 week. Never at night when streetlights illuminate your face. You schedule your drop runs during morning commute hours when thousands of people are dropping mail. By month 6, you're shipping 50 orders a day, $3,000 a day in gross revenue. You quit the print shop. You tell your parents you landed a remote job as a back-end data analyst for a software firm based in Austin. Your mom tells her friends at church that her son is a software consultant. You let her say it because software consultant sounds clean and legitimate. You move out of the apartment with Sean.
You rent a secluded 2-bedroom house at the end of a cul-de-sac in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Room 1 is your living space. Room 2 is the fulfillment center. The shoebox under your bed is replaced by a fireproof safe inside your closet. The safe holds $85,000 in cash and hardware crypto wallets holding another $140,000 in Monero. Monero is an obfuscated cryptocurrency. Unlike Bitcoin, Monero hides the sender, receiver, and transaction amount. It is a black hole for financial tracking. You learn to wash your Bitcoin into Monero through decentralized exchanges without identity verification. The trail disappears into the ledger. You think you are invisible. Invisibility feels like safety.
Level 3. The Empire. Your vendor profile name is PhantomOps. PhantomOps has a 5-star rating across 4 major dark web marketplaces. You have over 4,000 verified sales and a rep for 24-hour shipping times and 0 lost packages. In the dark web economy, reliability is rarer than gold. Customers don't buy from you because you're cheap. They buy from you because you are a machine. You hire your first runner, a 20-year-old kid named David, who posted on a local privacy forum looking for quick cash. You meet him in person once, in a crowded food court at a suburban mall. You wear a hat, non-prescription glasses, and plain clothes. You speak in a low voice. You explain the rules. David doesn't package anything. David doesn't know where the inventory comes from. David's only job is to pick up pre-sealed, wiped-down packages from a dead drop location, a rented storage locker, and drop them into designated blue mailboxes across the state line. You pay David $1,500 a week in cash. David thinks he's dropping pirated software and counterfeit designer clothes. You let him think that, because ignorance is an insurance policy. You scale the inventory. You expand from prescription pills to high-purity cocaine sourced from an overseas vendor in Amsterdam who ships inside heavy industrial machinery parts. You import 2 kilograms a month. You buy a commercial-grade pill press and raw binding powder to manufacture your own custom formulations. Your garage becomes a laboratory. The noise of the pill press is muffled by soundproofing foam glued to the walls. You process $40,000 in volume every single week. Net profit after supplier costs, David's cut, and marketplace commissions is $26,000 a week. Over $1 million a year.
You're 24 years old, and you have more wealth than both of your parents will earn in their entire lifetimes. You live like a ghost. You drive a 10-year-old Honda Civic with clean registration. You wear clothes from Target. You buy groceries with cash. You don't buy sports cars. You don't wear expensive watches. You don't post photos on social media.
The biggest threat to a dark web vendor isn't law enforcement. It's lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation draws attention, and attention brings investigation. You convert your profits into physical gold bullion stored in safety deposit boxes, opened under shell company names, and into privacy coins distributed across dozens of cold storage hardware wallets, buried in waterproof cases in a state park 20 miles from your house. You feel like a master strategist who has solved the problem of modern crime. The problem with crime was always the human element, the street corners, the noisy cash, the loose lips. You eliminated the street corners. You automated the cash. You isolated the humans. You built a pristine, frictionless machine. What you failed to realize is that machines don't fail because the code is bad. They fail because the environment around them changes. Level 4. The seizure. The collapse doesn't begin with a SWAT team breaking down your front door. It begins with a postal inspector in Indiana noticing a microscopic anomaly. Federal law enforcement agencies run joint task forces dedicated to dark market interdiction. A postal inspector named Vance notices a pattern. 74 packages mailed over 3 months from various drop boxes in a 20-mile radius all feature the exact same postage meter weight calculation, to the 10th of a gram, printed using the same model of thermal paper, with a tiny recurring manufacturing chip in the printhead margin. One microscopic defect in a $40 printer head. A single line of missing ink on every shipping label you printed. The Postal Inspection Service hooks up high-speed sorting cameras across regional distribution centers to flag any package bearing that exact printhead flaw. They don't intercept the packages immediately. They let them pass through to map the network. They track 60 packages to destinations across 20 states. They link every package back to vendor profile PhantomOps. Then, a major dark web marketplace called Alphabay experiences a server seizure by European law enforcement in a coordinated global bust. The administrators had backed up unencrypted server logs on a backup server in Romania. The logs contain 6 months of private messages, order histories, and PGP public keys. Your PGP public key, the cryptographic signature you use to sign every vendor announcement, is tied directly to a specific Monero transaction on a non-KYC exchange that suffered an internal data breach 6 months prior. The data breach leaked IP addresses. One IP address matches a VPN exit node. The VPN provider, under a sealed federal court order, surrenders connection logs.
The connection logs point straight to the residential internet connection at your suburban cul-de-sac address. They don't rush in. They watch you for 4 weeks. A surveillance van parked 2 streets over logs your daily routines. They photograph David picking up packages from the storage locker. They photograph you buying Mylar bags at a shipping supply store. They record your license plate. They map every node of the web until the web is entirely contained inside a federal indictment folder. On a rainy Tuesday morning at 6:15 a.m., you are standing in your kitchen waiting for the coffee maker to brew. The front door is blown off its hinges with a flashbang grenade. The sound is an explosion that shatters your hearing. Black-clad federal agents in body armor flood the hallway with rifles raised. You are thrown to the floor, your face pressed into cold coffee grounds on the tile. Hands yank your arms behind your back and snap heavy steel cuffs onto your wrists. Within 3 hours, agents clear out the garage pill press, the Mylar bags, the vacuum sealers, the safe, and the buried hardware wallets identified through a notebook seized from your desk.
Level 5. The ledger. The trial never happens. Your public defender takes one look at the discovery evidence. 3 terabytes of decrypted server logs, printhead forensic reports, physical surveillance video, and seized hardware wallets, and tells you that going to trial is an act of legal suicide. The federal guidelines for conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, money laundering, and operating a continuing criminal enterprise carry a mandatory minimum of 20 years. Maximum, life. You sign a plea agreement. You surrender every dollar, every Monero coin, every piece of gold bullion, the Honda Civic, and the fireproof safe. The government seizes $2.4 million in total assets. You are sentenced to 14 years in a medium-security federal correctional institution in Pennsylvania. You are 25 years old when you walk through the heavy iron doors. You will be 37 when you walk out.
David, your runner, takes a plea deal for 3 years probation because his lawyer proves he had no knowledge of the package contents and no prior record. David goes back to college. He finishes his degree. He gets a job in marketing. You spend your days working in the prison library for 12 cents an hour. Your job is reorganizing returned books and wiping down laminate tables with industrial bleach. The smell of the bleach reminds you of the print shop delivery van from what feels like a previous lifetime. Your mom visits you once every 6 months. She is aged 10 years and 2. She sits across from you behind a thick pane of acrylic glass and asks if you are sleeping well. You tell her the sleep is fine. Fine means the same thing it always means. It means you lie awake on a steel cot for 6 hours every night, watching the blue moonlight shift across the cinder block wall of your cell. You calculate the math of your life while the facility slumbers around you. $2.4 million made. $2.4 million seized. Net profit, 0. Total time served, 5,110 days. Divide the money by the days, and you earned less than nothing for every hour you spent building an empire in the dark. On your 30th birthday, a new inmate is assigned to the cell next to yours. He is 22 years old, soft-spoken, and serving 6 years for wire fraud. He tells you about a new privacy coin that makes Monero look obsolete. He explains the setup with the excited, breathless cadence of someone who thinks he discovered a secret glitch in the fabric of the universe. You listen to him through the air vent between your cells. You don't interrupt him. You don't tell him about the printhead flaws or the server backups or the VPN logs. You lie back on your thin mattress, stare at the ceiling, and listen to him do the math. The math always makes sense at the beginning. The math always wins at the end.